This video is going to have the best Modern Warfare 2 settings so you can increase your aim, movement, and overall game sense. So this first setting I'm going to show, this is a PC setting, but if you are on console, you still should stay tuned. So basically go down to the Windows bar, type in sounds, and then you want to go to change system sounds, tab over to the playback, go to where you hear the audio from. Since I have a Go XLR, mine is a little bit different, but basically I hear the game from the system. You want to right click on this, go down to properties, then go over to enhancements and select loudness equalization. This will give you better hearing than your mother. The second I applied this, I was a way better player, especially on ranked. There were so many enemies saying I have walls, same with the YouTube comments, literally just from selecting loudness equalization. By the way, do you want that Orion camo but you're just a little bit too busy to grind through all 2,000 camos? If so, you should definitely check out Guapci. Guapci provides weapon leveling services, camo unlock services, challenge unlock services such as the Warzone, Nuke, and many more for all the platforms. Now for the actual in-game settings. So the first settings that we are going to be going over, this is going to be on the controller side of things. First thing, edit button layout. So for me, I have an Xbox Elite controller which has paddles, and so I just play on the default. But if your controller does not have paddles, I really recommend you guys to swap this between tactical, bumper jumper, or bumper jumper tactical. Overall, I think the bumper jumper tactical is the best one, and again, this is if you do not have paddles. So if you swap to bumper jumper tactical, it is going to allow you to actually be able to melee with the B button instead of clicking down on the right stick, which means you can dolphin dive by just hitting the right stick, which is going to help a lot. And then you actually can jump now with the bumper, which allows you to jump in your gunfight while still having very good aim. Before, you would have to take your thumb off the right joystick to click the jump, but then you're not going to be able to aim, which is why it's very nice to have paddles. And so I can play on default. When I click this thing, this is going to allow me to jump. When I click this one, it allows me to drop shot, so then I can jump and dolphin dive while still having very good aim because I don't have to move my thumb off the joystick. Bumper ping off, stick layout preset, default controller vibration. When I first started playing video games, I used to have the vibration on just because it felt more normal, and then someone told me to take that off, and I was a little bit skeptical about that, but I still tried it anyways, and at first I wasn't that good, but after a few games of playing without vibration on, I noticed my aim became way better. Which honestly makes sense. Less things moving in your hand gives you better control of your controller, and so please turn this off. You will be a way better player. Next up, for the sensitivity, this is a pretty big thing. Some people think the more you increase the sensitivity, the better player you are, but actually you will be a way worse player. I don't recommend having your sensitivity past 8. Usually I would say nothing past 7, but I know there's some people that do a lot better with 8. Overall, stay between like 4 and 8. This is going to allow you to have a very good centering. It's not necessarily for your aim, but it's more so for your centering, which is how consistent you can place that white dot on the enemy's chest. Whenever you're running around the map, you always want to have that white dot on where an enemy could be. If you're playing on a high sense, it's going to be hard to consistently center on the enemy's chest compared to if you were on a low sense, which then if you have a good centering, you are going to usually be able to get that first shot off, and that first shot is very important. Once you get that first shot, the rest of the shots should be easy to land. Next up, ADS sensitivity multiplier. This is going to be personal preference. Shotzi, he plays on 1. I know some other players, I think Joe plays on like 0.85. Could very much be wrong on that, but overall you want to usually keep this between 0.75 and 1.0. For me, I found myself doing the best at 0.9. Sensitivity multiplier, I just have this all on 1. You can mess with this if you want, but those don't really matter. Vertical aim axis, don't touch that. Aim down sight, hold. Change zoom, shared input, just keep that on the sprint tactical. Next up, the automatic sprint. So I play on automatic tactical sprint, which means I immediately go into attack sprint when I'm moving around the map. But if I see an enemy and say they are not tactical sprinting, their sprint to fire speed is going to be a little bit quicker, and I'll probably lose that gunfight. And so overall, I think having this on off is the best option. But if you're like me, this is very hard to get used to, and so I'm slowly trying to get used to it, but right now I'm just using automatic. Next up, equipment behavior, hold, ADS plus melee. For the interact reload behavior, if you're playing multiplayer, have this on tap to reload. If you're playing Warzone, please have this on prioritize interact. It allows you to loot a lot quicker, but since I play multiplayer, I have mine on tap to reload. Armor plate behavior, again, that is a Warzone setting, have that on apply all. Now when we go to the advanced side, obviously have your aim assist on. Aim assist type, just keep it on the default. When the game first came out, the Black Ops was the best, but then they did nerf it. For the third person, this doesn't matter. Aim response curve type, please make this on dynamic. this is going to make it so flicking to target is a little bit easier. Basically, this is giving you the S curve, and so it's going to be fast, slow down, fast, which allows you to flick onto targets a lot easier. I believe it's something like that. I could be wrong, but most players do run on the dynamic. ADS sense multiplier, again, personal preference. For me, I keep mine on 0.9. ADS sensitivity, transition timing, instant. Have this one on off. I used to have it on. If you're like drag scoping, like say you're running around sniping, it is a little bit easier to be consistent with the drag scoping if you have yours on a little bit of a higher sense, but it was kind of messing me up when I was playing ranked with the sniper because you're hard scoping a lot, and so I turned mine on off. Next up, we got inputs dead zone. This one is a little bit personal preference, but also controller specific. Basically, this eliminates the stick drift. You want to increase this right stick min until you have 0 stick drift, but if you have it past 0.05, you're not going to have that good of a reaction time in a way, and so your aim is going to be a little bit off. It's not going to feel as responsive, and so even though I have a very big stick drift, I am usually going to keep this on 0.03. Sometimes I do increase it to 0.05. Say I have a brand new controller, I keep it on 0, and so in conclusion, mess around, try out 0.0, 0.03, and 0.05. And for that left stick, keep this on 0. Even if you have insane stick drift, just keep this on 0. It's going to make your movement feel a little bit better. For the rest of these, I don't really touch those at all. Controller orientation, keep that on off. Keep the gyro behavior on off. And then for the movement behaviors, these are very important. Make sure you copy these exactly. Auto move forward off, tactical sprint behavior, double tap unless you like something else, grounded mantle, automatic airborne mantle, and automatic ground mantle. Make sure these are on off. It's going to make snaking and just moving around the map a lot more clean and smooth. You're not going to accidentally mantle onto things. It might get a little bit awkward to get used to at first, but just trust me, get used to having these 3 on off. Invert, slide, and dive behavior. This is important to keep it on inverted. Dolphin diving is like the only movement in this game, which honestly, it helps you a lot. It helps you get into cover a lot quicker, and so just have this on inverted. Sliding in this game will kind of get you killed, so then you'll probably be dolphin diving way more than sliding, and since tapping is a little bit quicker than holding, you want to have the tap. Next up, plunging underwater. Keep this on plunge freely. Allows you to move around the water a lot more freely. For the parachute auto deploy warzone, just keep that on off. Sprinting door bash on. Ledge hang mantle behavior, mantle only. ADS stick swap off on. I think we went through all the main settings. You can copy all these ones. Yeah, these ones don't really matter. And now let's get into the graphics settings. So for the graphics settings, I'll be giving you guys the best settings to have the best FPS possible. When you're playing competitively, like in ranked play, obviously you want more frames than over the game looking good, which one way to get more frames is to play on full screen exclusive. I'm just a streamer and I need to use my mouse a lot while I'm playing, so I do full screen borderless. And then for the aspect ratio, I have this on automatic, VSync off, custom frame limit, I keep it on custom, so then in the menu I can have it at 60, and then in game I have it maxed out, so my game doesn't need to pull as many resources when I don't really need them. Display gamma doesn't really matter. This is all personal preference, just based off your monitor and things. Now over to the quality. For the upscaling and sharpening, make sure this is on fidelity. Makes everything so much more visible, like it's actually insane, and then max it out. Some people do have it a little bit lower, but overall most people have it maxed out. For the anti-aliasing, have this on the T2X. I wish I could turn that off. Anti-aliasing quality on the low. Video memory scale AT5. Texture resolution, just so my stream looks a little bit better, I usually have it on the normal. Say I'm playing off stream, I usually just lower it to very low. Texture filter anastrophic, low, and I did pay someone to basically go in here and just give me the most amount of frames per second, and they work on a lot of people's computers, so I guarantee these are the best settings. I believe the guy's name was Merc Tweaks on Twitter if you wanted him to optimize your PC as well. So again, just low, short, low, very low, on, off, shader quality, low, tessellation off, on-demand texture streaming off, streaming quality low, volumetric low, off, just every single thing low. You're going to get the most amount of FPS. Say you want your gold camo to look good, make sure this is on high. If you don't care about the gold camo, I would just turn that to off. Spot shadow quality low, spot cache, this is actually going to give you more frames if you have it on ultra, very weird. Particle lighting low, ambient occlusion off, screen space reflections, again if you want the gold camo to look good, make sure this is on high. static reflection quality low, weather grid volumes off, and video reflex low latency. Have this on. I thought on plus boost is better, but just keep that on. Depth of field, world motion blur, and weapon motion blur, make sure these are on off. It's going to make the game look so much better. You're going to be able to play so much better. Never ever have these settings on. And then obviously turn the film grain down to 0. And now let's go over to the view area. So for the FOV, I recommend to keep it between 103 and 117. When you start to get too big of an FOV, the players are going to be a little bit hard to see. And so for me, I found 117 was the best. For the ADS field of view, affected, default, 90 default. These things don't really matter that much. Now let's go over to the audio settings. So for the master volume, make sure this is on 80 or 100. I have the gameplay music volume on 0, dialogue volume 50, effects volume 100, voice chat volume, because there's so many bad mics. I usually want to have this on 0, but sometimes I'll keep it on 50. Cinematic music volume 0, speakers, headphones, this is all personal preference. Speaker output, I believe stereo is the best one. Voice chat on, obviously, unless you get some PS5 mics, and then all of this is personal preference. And so I think we wrapped up every single thing in this video, which if you did find this helpful, a like is appreciated, and if you want to get better at the game, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. But I hope you guys all did enjoy, and deuces.